Well, welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs, and we are streaming news about the economy and how people are competing, going back to work, readjusting, and hopefully are very successful in this economy, sometimes struggling too. We haven't had too many of those interviews on, but I'm glad to be back. My name is Jeffrey Davis, and my co-host for this segment, the one, the only, drum roll, Evan Macedo from FEI and Sapers and Wallack, FEI Financial Executives International. Welcome back, Evan.
Hey, how's it going? Great to be here. Great to be back, and great to have another great show with you. Everything's great.
You know, your mic keeps getting bigger, but I guess mine's still the biggest.
Yeah, like I said in the last show, this is not a competition.
It's just the picture I put up. I'm sorry. Our next guest, I guess you know him quite well, Jeff Tomaneng, Director of Financial Planning, Sapers and Wallack. Welcome, Jeff.
Good morning, Jeff. Evan, good morning.
Good morning.
So why don't you talk to us about how financial planning has changed over the last 2 months and even now into this week at the Sapers and Wallack?
Well, you know what? I think it's interesting you talk about how things have changed. If anything, I've found the actual financial planning process to be the same as it was. Let's go back to mid-February, because the tenets of financial planning are still there. I mean, you're still looking at, hey, what's your budget? What's your cash flow? What's your risk management? How does your investment portfolio look overall? What employee benefits might you have? What are your estate planning issues? How do taxes affect your financial plan? So a lot of these things are still the same. But what the crisis has done is, in many ways, it's been like a life inflection point. So people think everything's going okay, and the financial plan ends up being, I guess, if you think about the old, Stephen Covey, 7 Habits, and the 4 quadrants, financial planning often fell into that important but not urgent category. But because the markets went down, because people were laid off, it was a trigger. So people started thinking about these things. And so financial planning itself really hasn't changed. The basic tenets of that haven't. However, the way that people approach it, the sense of urgency has increased.
Okay. And Jeff, I know for our listeners out there, what are some of the top questions you've been getting, and how are you answering them?
I think one of the main question, which, I can't say it's just been me, but I think a lot of advisors and planners are fielding the question is, hey, am I going to be all right? What should I be doing with my portfolio? Is it going to affect when I retire or any other investment or accumulation goals I have? And so those are the main questions. Again, we go back to the process of, was your plan solid in the first place before all this happened? So those are really the main questions. The other question I get often is, when is this going to end? Which, of course, I don't know. No one here knows. Another one I've been getting is, when, why is the market going up even though the economy's down? But the market's usually a leading indicator. So, if that is the case, hey, you know what? Off in the future, we do see the economy rebounding. And I think that the investments that are in a higher place now are those that the market believes are going to be profitable in the long term. So I think the questions I get as a financial planner are similar to the same questions that people are talking about on their Zoom calls or on their phone calls or on their Facebook Messenger app when they're talking to their friends and their other professionals.
But, there's a lot more people who are concerned about their money right now. But I guess the statistics show that some of the wealthiest people in America are actually better off now than they were 90 days ago. Clearly, I don't think the three of us are in that category.
Yeah,
people
no,
are looking to,
I
move
wish.
on. People are changing their portfolios right now, aren't they?
Um, some are. Um, at least the ones that I'm dealing with are changing them to more align with what their true risk tolerance is. It's not necessarily tactical because of what the market is doing, because again, we don't know. We know in the long term the market goes up, but it's not linear. It's more like a yo-yo. If you think about a woman holding a yo-yo but going up an escalator, you know, there's always the ups and downs in the short term, but in the long term you're going up. So the changes in the portfolio that we see aren't necessarily tactical, but they're more strategic around how each respective investor's risk tolerance aligns with their long-term objectives. Uh, you know, we might have a client with, let's say, $800,000, and they call me and they said, "Hey, you know what? I've lost $80,000, so they're down to 720." And I say, "Well, when we went over this, I just want to go back to where we talked however a couple of years ago, and we said, yeah, you could be in a 60-40 portfolio. Just so you know, you could go down 10, 12% and something like that. Is that still okay?" And then this guy's answer was, yes, it's okay. And I said, well, your portfolio is down 10%, but so what you're saying is $80,000 in a downturn in your portfolio is okay. And then and the answer that I got was, well, no. So what has either changed, or, you know, at least the way that investor, our client was looking at it as, hey, a 10% drop in the portfolio is okay. I'll be okay with that, but not an $80,000 loss. That would be awful. When in essence they're the same thing. So what this downturn has done is it's forced us to have deeper conversations about, hey, if this happens, how are you going to react? Are you going to be able to sleep at night? And so when we go through that discussion, then that's what leads to the adjustments in the portfolio, not necessarily tactical things.
Hey Jeff,
Now, with that in mind, don't get me wrong. Like, I probably wouldn't want to be in hotel stocks right now or airline stock. I don't know. Again, I don't normally go into that, but it looks like in the short to intermediate term, they're not going to be profitable enterprises. So yes, there's some tactical changes in the portfolio going on. I leave that to the portfolio managers, but for me and my discussions with clients, it's always about, hey, how do you feel about this, and what's the best portfolio we can put together for you that you're comfortable with?
okay. And Jeff, you just said something that resonated with me. You know, people want to be able to sleep well at night, and the stock market is a very emotional place to have your money in right now. Are there any other types of financial products that, you know, might not have that yo-yo effect that the stock market has that you were talking about, that will help people sleep better at night?
I think so. I mean, if you really break it down, there are the risk investments and there are the non-risk investments. And you know, when we think of risk investments, we think of stocks, real estate, securities that are going to fluctuate in value. You know, on the safe side of things, there are stable value funds. There might be annuities or some sort of insured products, CDs, bonds that can't fluctuate in value, but if they're held to maturity, you're going to get your principal and interest back. So I think that, you know, one thing that has come up, again, it comes up when there are market downturns, is people don't necessarily want to pay the price between what you can make in a risky portfolio and a conservative portfolio. And sometimes what you're paying is for that insurance. And you're paying for the guarantees in the annuities, the guarantees in the bonds. When a portfolio is down, let's say 15%, I think many investors don't care that they paid another 2% to have their money guaranteed or to have it protected. So there are definitely products out there. I think it depends on the investor's situation. But one of the things that we're able to do at our firm is take a look at, hey, what are the different products that are out there and what's going to be a good fit. So we have a lot of options here that not all firms have.
That's fantastic, Jeff. Do you have any other questions?
No, it's amazing how the time gets used up. Jeff, if somebody were looking for you and your services, how would they find you?
Well, certainly you could call us here at Sapers and Wallack. Go to sapers-wallack.com. That's probably the best way. And then our phone number's on there. You can find out a little more about our firm, our department, which is the wealth management department, and then a lot of the other services we offer. And there's also some good information on, financial planning in general, retirement planning, risk management. But again, sapers-wallack.com.
Evan, if someone's looking to find you, and also someone, CFO from maybe about FEI, how would they find you? Sure. I would say if you can just go onto the FEI's website, it's feiboston.org. There's a lot of great information. There's the contact information for the board of directors to inquire about memberships and everything else. So I would implore you to go check that out. If you want to reach me at Sapers and Wallack, you can call our main line at 617-225-2600.
Perfect. Jeff, thanks for being on the show today. And Evan, thanks for representing FEI, Financial Executives International for New England. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back after these short messages.